And that's what you're trying to do with your content. You give them a bit of a taste and you want them to want more. You want them to ask more.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Win the Hour, Win the Day. And I am your host, Chris Ward. And today we have Donna Ohana in the house. And she is a marketing and social media expert. And we're going to dive into how to connect with your audience. Now, listen, I know this topic comes up a lot and it's, they say generic things like be engaging, be entertaining, whatever. What does that mean and how can it help us? So let's get to it. Donna, we're here all on this show, Win the Hour, Win the Day. First of all, let me welcome you to the show. Hello, I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Okay, so we're all about big results, no fluff here, tangible takeaways. So let's cut to it. What is it we need to know about marketing? What are we missing? Where are the pain points? What do we got to do to have a stronger connection to our audience?
So first, I think the most important thing is to remember that people buy from people, okay? And people buy from people they can have a connection with, someone they can actually build a relationship with. Because if you build a relationship, then you gain their trust. If you gain their trust, they're going to be loyal to your brand and your best brand ambassadors. And that is something we really want to focus on, how we can actually build a relationship with our audience. So it's not about reaching out. There's a nice quote saying, it's not about reaching out to 10,000 people that like your content. You want to actually reach out even to 1,000 people that love your content, because that's the purpose. We want to be able to convert them, our followers, to an actual client. And in order for us to do it, we want them to trust us. We want them to see that connection.
Okay, so I struggle with that one a lot. And what the struggle part is, hopefully people like and trust me, but where I struggle is when we talk about sharing and being relatable and all this stuff. And I'm getting better, but with social media or anything I do, I get my head in work mode, like boom. Part of it is even in my personal life, like I can watch documentaries that I got hooked on Formula One racing because I watched the behind the scenes of it. And I was so fascinated with the machinery of the business, and one thing led to another. So even in my free time, I'm thinking business because I find it fascinating. So then I struggle with, what is my ratio? This whole, how much personal stuff do I put out? I've recently been passionate about rock climbing. Okay, great. I would normally have not shared that, but now I do. Okay, this is what I'm doing on my spare time, blah, blah, blah. But I don't get it. When does it begin and end? When do I know I'm sharing enough? And is sharing the thing that makes them trust us? Or is it sharing some stuff about my work experience and a difficult client? I don't know where the sharing begins and ends.
So I think it's important first to understand that the important part is also understanding who's our audience, okay? Because once you know your audience, you know where to find them, how to engage with them, and when to engage with them. Okay. And once you know that part, then you can actually come with your key message. With the key message is actually focusing on the problem that your audience is experiencing. Okay, so it's all about understanding what are their challenges, like pain points, struggles, what is nagging them, okay, that will get them, okay, to stop and want to listen to more. And once you've got those two together, then you basically come and choose a content strategy. Now you have 4 types of content strategy that I think like it's actually always good to do a mix between them. Okay. So the first one, it's an educational one, which is the one you want to educate your audience. You want to give them tips, tricks, give them the information that they're looking for, information that actually focus on the problem that they experience, because you want them to eventually to look at you and say, okay, that person understands me. That person actually see me. He knows exactly what I'm going through now. Okay. And that's how like you can build that relationship. Okay. The second content strategy is about inspirational and motivational. You want to inspire them. You want to motivate them. You want them to understand that, yes, they're going through a certain like struggle or a challenge, but it's actually doable. They can actually overcome it. They can actually succeed with us. So you want to motivate them. So it can be, for example, on social media, it can be a type of quotes, stories, which actually links me to the third content strategy, which is personal connection, which is the part that, as I said, people buy from people. You want them to get to know you, the person behind that brand, because a brand is a story and you are that brand and you're telling that story. And I want to get to know you. And here's the part where I believe that you need to really listen to yourself and what's right to you. You decide how much you want to share. You decide how far you want to take it and when you want to share it. So for example, if I look at my business, when I started my business, part of my why is because I lost my mom. She used to work in a bank for 30 years. By the time she decided to have her own business, it was like pretty much like at the end when she got sick. And that's
Mm.
something that pushed me to do it. But in the beginning, I couldn't share it. I
Oh,
was
yeah. Sorry.
okay.
You know what? You're my new best friend. I have to, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to jump in. May I finish? I'll tell you why. Sorry.
That's fine. It took me time to feel comfortable to share
Yeah.
it. And I decided what exactly I want to share
Yeah.
with around this. And through that, I use it to share also about the things that are not so working. Because I know people look at me and say, oh, you're a marketing person. Yes, I did marketing for corporates, for big brands and stuff like this. So it's easy for you. But no, it wasn't easy for me to be in
Mm.
front of a video or listen to the sound of my voice or put a picture of myself. So I do share on that personal note, but I decide when and how to share it. I'm sorry, you wanted to say something?
No, because that was the issue for me when I wrote the book, Win the Hour, Win the Day. It really it spun out of my life where I had been pulled away from my business for about 2 years when my husband was diagnosed with colon cancer. And when I returned after his passing, my existing marketing clients had no idea of my absence. And one thing led to another, and they kept asking me, how could you have been away? And we didn't know. And so under that, they started saying, could you work with us under that capacity so that I could get to my kids' soccer games and all these things? And when I wrote the book, I had so many people that were just doing everything they could for me to tell that story. Chris, you have to tell that story, or you're just another productivity person. And I was like you, I really didn't want to talk about it in the beginning. Mostly it wasn't because it was sad and painful. It was because I didn't want that to define him, and it didn't define me. There was just so much more to the story than that. And so I really struggled, and it took a long time. And then so finally, I'm sharing it now. But I did also, you're right, I had to manage how could I share it. So sometimes, especially in the beginning, when people would try to bestow a lot of sympathy on me and change the energy, I would say, you know what, everybody has something. That's my something right now. So I had to learn how to keep the energy high because I wasn't interested or comfortable with that kind of sympathy. So it was, and I thought I was the only person. They're like, you have to share it. And so it's really interesting to hear that you struggled with that too, because my aversion is the people out there that are sharing too much, right? Like it's just sobbing and painful and every drama in their life. And so then I go the other way. You don't need to know anything because I'm just trying to, yeah.
Because you also think it's something personal. You still need to deal with this. But I think that's the thing. Like, if someone tells you to share, it doesn't mean
Yeah.
you need to share. Okay.
Yeah.
You are the brand. You need to do what's right for you. And before we started actually chatting now, we spoke about authenticity. And
Yeah.
this is part of it. If I'm sharing something, just because someone told me share it, I'm not being authentic because I
Yeah.
can't share it from the right place. And that's
Yeah.
a huge difference. And you need to do things that are right for you. Because if
Yeah.
it's not right for you, it actually looks like you were not really willing to do it, or you're just trying to maybe share with me a sobby story that I'll
Yeah.
feel sorry for you. And it's not the purpose. And it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. It's how you
Mm.
share the story. And there's lots of stuff that happened to me that I'm not even sharing because it's mine. It's my personal things. But maybe in one-on-one with my clients, then I feel more comfortable to share.
Right.
That's the balance you want to find because you want to do what's right for you and not because someone told you.
Yeah. And I would get stuck. Sometimes I think, oh, everyone says I should be doing it. I don't want to do it. So I'm trying to whatever. So you're right. That doesn't make it, if you do it and you don't want to do it, you're right. It's inauthentic and it comes out painful because I have tried that. It didn't work. Okay. So we're talking
I'll
about,
go first to the last
oh, sorry,
strategy.
did I skim the last
Or
one? My
there's still one
apologies.
more, which
Oh,
is
I
the one.
missed the last one. We chatted. My apologies. So we got educational. Let me revamp since I moved on. Educational, inspirational, personal connection,
And the last one, which cannot be a standalone, which is the lead generation, which is the
okay.
one that, for example, promoting like
Okay.
freebies, the events you do, and things like that. And the reason for that it cannot be a standalone, because if we look at the way that people are making decisions today, it's based on something emotional. They want to know that they can trust you. There are so many people out there that provide the same type of product or service that you've got, And why for me to come to you? You need to build something. So you cannot just come and sell. People don't like direct sales. And I actually want to say through this that we need to remember that the way we think and the way we buy our products it really changed. So if I look for a second about traditional way of marketing, people first used to think, then act, and then feel something, which means I know my fridge, my TV is broken. It's logic. I go buy it. And then I start to feel, am I excited about this? Am I nervous about my decision? What type of emotion comes up? In today's marketing, it's the other way around. We first feel something, then we act, and then we think. And I think the easiest ways to see it always, I look at commercials for moms, right? They always make her feel guilt. Are you a good mom? Are you doing the best as you can for your kid? And now she feels so much pressure that she wants to be that best mom because the one that looks on social media. So she goes buy the product. And then she's like, was I actually making the right decision? Is it right for my baby? Yes or not? And that's why you cannot do direct sales. You want to create that type of emotional connection with your audience, which that you can do by sharing a personal story. You can do by inspiring them, like those two goes well together. By educating them, and by educating them, you can also add something personal. Okay, like you want to teach them how to do things that are outside of the comfort zone. So share about how you pushed yourself to do things outside of your comfort zone, for example, and give them some actionable tips with that. So that's a different way to look at why you create your content.
Okay, so with the clients that we deal with, they've usually been in business at least 5 years, and they're working harder than they should be at this point in their journey, right? They're still grinding it out, thinking the more output, the more input will give them more output. And so my clients in the Winner's Circle repeatedly tell us that they get 25 hours back a week within the first month of working with us. But you are, and I've heard some of these pillars before. There's some that we've heard, whatever, in different variations. But I'm tapping into it more. So the person I have is on social media, they're scrolling because they have to, or they need something quick. They're hopping in and out. They're doing too many things at one time, all this other stuff. And we're actually really exciting because we've recently started to create these, what we call power personalities, Jugglerama, Sufferpreneur, and we're really going to be speaking to that in our content. So I have two questions here. One is, I think too, now when I hear you tap into the emotion, I know the commercials that make you, a dog can't find its horse, and then he finds the horse and they're selling you beer. So I understand that, but often I think we forget to put that on ourselves. So even what I'm making you realize is I always speak to the entrepreneur. You don't have to work this hard. And I'm trying to, this isn't about you, but I could also be tapping into a picture of how many hours this week alone did you miss with your family? So I think instead of lecturing the entrepreneur, I also could be looking at it, coming at it from a different angle for that emotion, right?
Exactly. And I think that's what also a tip that I want to share. If you actually want to start creating that emotional connection, it's always good to ask questions.
Right.
Okay, questions that touch that problem, that sensitive point. Because when you ask a question, people automatically need to answer. No one can leave a question not answered. Even if they answered only in their head, they've answered it. And if you, for example, come to a client like, when was the last time you were actually having a family dinner?
Okay.
When was the last time? I'm like, oh my God, I actually need to remember now. Or when was the last time, I don't know, you did something for yourself? And again, it's really depend on the business. So even if you're selling a product, when was the last time you look in the mirror and you love what you... So if you come with those type of questions that really touch that problem, that something that really nags them, and you speak through that, then it automatically create a connection. Because that's a starting point that you can say, okay, I actually don't remember when I did this, or I don't you have something in your head.
Or even when was the last time you were truly relaxed? Because I remember being like one time when my business was new and I'm in the backyard, it's a family event, we're having a barbecue and it's someone's birthday. And I look around, I'm thinking, because anything that wasn't work was an interruption to work. And I'm thinking, did that child not just have a birthday? Why are we here again? So I would show up, but in my mind, I'm like, let's get this going. Let's celebrate, get the cake. Come on. If I get out of here, I could get a few more emails or a couple hours in. Let's go. So you're right. When was the last time you truly felt relaxed? That's a great question. Okay. So these pillars, are we looking, I know it all depends on how much we are on social media, but are we looking ideally if we could hit a pillar, do all 4 pillars every week?
So it's a mix of them. Okay. So when I share my content, you can create one post that actually combines even all 4 of them. because you're giving some tips, you're sharing a story on how you got this. And at the end, you have a call to action, which I think a call to action is something super important when you create your content. And I know a lot of people think that like call to action, it means that you need to tell them, buy my product, buy my service, but it's actually more a call to action. You invite them to follow you. You invite them to share this post, to save it. You need to tell people, like, to guide them, when you have a baby and you feed him with a spoon and you bring it straight to his mouth. That's what we need to do with our audience, with our followers, because we are exposed to so much content. So I can just take a look, but don't pay the bills. Okay.
No,
they don't. Like, it's automatically movement of a finger of just liking it.
Oh my God. We all know that, but I think we need a bumper sticker. That was well said. Yeah. That's nice. Thank you. You like me. It reminds me when I was in university and I was a server, like a waitress in a restaurant, and people would say thank you. And I felt like saying, don't thank me, tip me. Like, I don't need your thanks. I need your money.
Okay. But it is because we forget how much we exposed to so much content, especially if you look at the younger generation. Like, my sister is way younger than me, in her 20s. And she was sitting here next to me, and like for an hour, she was just watching TikTok videos and not even like really watching the video, actually reading the comments. That's the generation. So you want to hook them. And when you hook them, you do it by actually speaking about something that's really important for them, that they're going to stop and not just going to do the like, that they actually will do something. And you want to guide them. So even if on your post, on the design, you write down, share and save it, put it out there. You need to tell people in a way what to do. Watch this video, click here, check my website, check my link in the bio, do something, tell them to do something. Because if not, it's just, okay, like how many times we just scroll on our without even sometimes reading it, without even entering to the actual caption to read the content there.
Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, you are very inspiring, because you've almost made me excited to relook at my social media, where most of us, we just do it as chores. Okay, we got to get it done. Let's get it done. So there's that. And I do agree with what you said. I remember listening to a podcast. In the middle of the podcast, he was saying, pull over and give us a comment on this right now. And so help me God, I pulled over on the side of the road and thought, okay, why am I doing this? This is, I'm driving. And so he asked for this thing to be commented on. I did. Having said that, when you're in LinkedIn or the other stuff and the scrolls is so hard, I guess when it's at the bottom of the post, do you not feel it gets lost there? So even like share or save or whatever, everybody just winds up like the credits going, oh, the credits are at the end. Do we even read that anymore?
So one of the tricks that I do, and I would love to share it here, is that first, I love to take like a certain hashtag, especially like in platform, for example, like Instagram, and I take it and own it to my business. So for example, my business is big consulting. So I like to use different hashtags around the big. So I'll ask a question and then I'll answer, and then I'll write straight after. So I start the post with a question, and then straight after, if you agree with me, write hashtag big yes. This way, I have a business name in it, and then I get a reaction immediately.
Oh, that's a good tip. So I could be going hashtag win yes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay, at the top. So are you saying
at the top? So
if you agree with me, and then they have to read, because now you've asked a question. So now they have to read, because they're tempted to see, do I agree or not agree? Because you have to now, right? Oh, that is everybody. Pull over, write that one down.
And give us the hashtag. But it's like you want it, and that's why I like to start my post with a question, because you get them to stop for a second. Then you ask them to do something if they agree with you or not. And then you give the actual tips or share the story or a mix of them. And at the end, of course, you again invite them to do something. But the invitation can also be on the design itself. Or if you're creating a video, because today's short type of form of videos are very popular. So even in the beginning, you're starting with a question, right? You start, did you know this and this? Let me know in the comments. And then you start to share. And then you start to speak about whatever you want to put out there. So it's always to think, how can I engage with my audience? Okay, what I can do to get them to do something. Because if they engage with you, there's a higher chance that you will be able to convert them from actual followers to actual clients. And that's the purpose of it. And I think like one of the easiest examples that you can actually see, I think it's in the industry of tarot readings.
Okay.
Sometimes what they do, they put you like a video with the cards, but they told you want to actually know what those cards means, just read a caption. So you really want to know. Now you need to click on reading the caption and you're reading it. Okay. Or they'll do like an affirmation, like write it down, tap it down. So for example, if you do something around motivation that you want to give people, give them an affirmation and say, if you agree with me, if you want this in your life, write it down in the comments. So it's like different type of things that you can come with that surround your business, that it's important to your audience. So even if there were times that I wasn't asking on my type of content, give me, like, if you agree, give me the hashtag of big yes, I would still get it. And then I'll respond like with like big yay hashtag, big thank you hashtag. And I use it to get my business name in top of mind, because that's what you also want to be, in top of mind for your audience. You want to become their go-to person. You want to become top of a guru for them, like someone that know they can trust and they can come with a question. And that's the beauty of it, because you said
let
before.
me jump in. Hold on. Let me jump in with the questions, because I think you're really right. And I want to just unpack that for a second. So even something simple as boring and mundane is your 40 studies show again and again, multitasking, you are like 40% less efficient, right? You got attention residue, you got decision fatigue. So I could be telling that stat, but if I ask the question, I could be saying, did you know today you wasted 40% of your energy, or did you know that you were 40% less effective than you could be today? So that would be asking the question, which would be a better hook than me just diving into my stats.
Yeah, because that gets me to think, wait, 40%?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's not right. I wasn't 40% less effective today. What does she have to say? So then they have to stay to prove me wrong, even if that's the option.
Yeah, and you can also give them a list of the things they missed out because they were like not busy with something. So you can come with, and they're like, oh my God, wait, I didn't, wow. You want to get them to think about it and understand. Because as I said, we're exposed to so much content out there. Okay. It's not in the past that like you didn't have social media. You see a flyer, you see something, a commercial. Now it's everywhere and everyone trying, you want to stand out. And I want to say something, because you said before about like the assignments of social media. And I always ask like about like people, and I always get the same answer, which is funny. And I'll ask you and the ones who watch, like listening to the story, you're more than welcome to put it in the comments as well. Do you feel that you work for social media, or that social media works for you?
Yeah, for most of us, it's a beast we're constantly trying to feed.
Exactly. And I think most people will answer, I work for social media.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You don't want to do that. If you ask me, social media works for me.
Yeah.
And I'm active on so many platforms and doing it in 2 different languages. And the reason is that I look at this as a free platforms for me to put myself out there, to put my knowledge out there, to connect with people and let it be. And when you release that pressure of like, just how I get more followers, how do I get more views, how do I get more this, it doesn't matter. You are there to connect with other people. And it's not about the quantity of the people, it's the quality of the people, and about the strong connection you create. And that's why you want to start a discussion with them, get to know them, let them get to know you. That's why I like the question part, because you're starting a discussion. And through that, you're also showing the algorithm, wait, there's something interesting here, because I see people commenting, and that's more than one comment. And then it automatically exposes you to more. And it also, you need to remember that it takes time for you to learn about your audience, for your audience to learn about you. So it's also going to take time for the algorithm to learn the 2 of you and understand what's right and how to connect the 2 of you to get there. And that's why consistency is super important. So if you just did it from a different mindset of, I don't care, so what if I didn't post? Like, I was sick this week, so I didn't post it all the time as I usually do or something like that. And you know what? And I'm super fine. I didn't force myself to do something. And my audience accepted. And he knows when he's got questions, I'm there, because that's the relationship I built with them.
I think with us, I mean, we're all about super toolkits and efficiencies and all that stuff. So it's all set up and it happens and we put it out there and we're consistent, but it's certainly the engagement could improve. And I think what I'm hearing from you is really, although I know the value of questions, I think in the past we've heard questions as like maybe a good hook, but it seems to be the backbone and the framework for everything that you do. So you're like, okay, now, instead of me saying, oh my gosh, you're grinding it out, you're working too hard, it'd be like, when was the last time you truly felt relaxed? And then I could dive into something, a little bit of content, and then I could possibly ask another question So I think that's it too. It's not just the question, it's bring the questions are like the waves on the ocean. There should just be more than one.
Exactly. You can have more than one. You can have a top of a flow in this. So you can even start with an interesting fact, something that will make them even feel uncomfortable. And then straight after ask them a question. Okay. So when you do sales and like in corporates, they also teach to create tension, not to be afraid from this. Make them feel uncomfortable. If you shake the boat a bit, they'll stop for a second. It's like I, for example, once did like for one of the big logic like chains, and I came and I said, "Oh wow, you guys are doing amazing on TripAdvisor," and I'm like showing them, "Wow, look at this and look at this, 5 stars and this," and they're like so happy, and I'm like, "But you know what? You're a suck at this and this, and look at what you got. But you know what? I've got a solution for you."
Yeah.
Then they will listen. I wasn't even speaking about the solution from the beginning. And I think that's something we also need to remember. And that's why I said the lead generation, it's not something that can come and stand alone. You want to give them, it's like when you go to the restaurant, they don't give you now the starter, the main, the dessert all together at once. Slowly start. You get the bread basket. You maybe get like in some places, I don't know, a bit of a taste. And if you want, you take more. And if you want, you'll order something else and forget. And that's what you're trying to do with your content. You give them a bit of a taste and you want them to want more. You want them to ask more. You build a community. And that's the main thing. So if you look at social media as a place to build community and not a place like, oh, do I really need to post today? Oh, and someone told me I need to post. First, you don't.
Well, that's because we don't have the good techniques. So also too, then if I was doing a case study or talking about a client and their success, the question would be something like, that's not a good question, but can you relate to this? Or what would you have done? Or have you, I don't know. I need better questions because those are too generic. So if I was telling some story about somebody working, whatever, insane hours and now I have a client. When I met with her, literally, she said she was taking medication to calm herself to sleep at night. And now she had a month off without a cell phone. And she said, not in a million years, because she had thought she could do that. But I don't want to start it off with generic of whatever. Would you like to do this? Or can you relate? So I have to come up with more enticing questions to get them to read it, because nobody wants to read a case study unless you hook them, unless you make them a purpose for that.
Exactly. And you want to also give them, and when I say community, you want to give them a safe place.
Right.
Okay. And by you opening up a bit more and sharing something maybe personal, you're allowing them to feel safe, belong. That it's okay for me to ask a question, because some people are afraid to ask questions. You see it even in school, right? Because they're afraid to maybe that the question will sound stupid. And they always wait for that one person in the class to ask that question. And if not, they get stuck with no answer. So you want to give them a safe place that they can feel that they can come and ask you in the comments, on private message, and all of that. And that's why you want to start that discussion. Because if I see you're there and you're answering, and you really see me and you listen to me, then I want to hear more from you. Then I'll start following you. And that's the nice thing, because even today when I go to different like networking, I was actually like in one like a week ago, and I had ladies come to me like, you don't know me, but I know you. I follow all your stuff, but they don't comment on my stuff and they're not liking my stuff, but they're reading all my stuff. And that's another thing I want people to remember, because we live in like a society that we expect everything to happen now, immediately, instant. Like we put a campaign, we put something, we get like everything happening now, but that's not the case. It takes time. And that's why I said in the beginning, it's about building relationship.
Right.
Because people want to feel comfortable to come to you when they are ready, not because you put the pressure on them. And that's a huge difference, because a lot of people will watch your stuff and they be very silent. They won't say anything, but at the right time, they know exactly who you are, and you'll be surprised. That's why I call it, like in sales, you use the pipeline, right? When you need to plan your pipeline, what's going to be your like upcoming like leads and opportunities and all that. Social media gives you a surprise pipeline.
Okay.
And that's why I love it. It's like you can do something now, and in a month from now, someone will reach out. Listen, I've been following you for a while. Now I'm ready. And that's why you want to give them that place, a safe place that they know that when they want it, they can come, and not because someone put pressure. And that's the same as you need to look at the way you do social media. There's no pressure. You do you. If you don't feel like comfortable to make a video, don't make a video. There's other solutions. If you don't feel like posting today, all good. Nothing will happen. The most important thing, you do you. You being true to yourself. And on the same time, you listen to your audience. And that's why I think it's super important for people to check their analytics, because this is one of the most common mistakes that people do. They think marketing, it's all about creativity and fun. No, actually not. When I worked in corporate and marketing, I discovered that it's all about the numbers. So check your insight. So use the audience you're attracting, the gender, the age group. Check what type of content they like. From which one you got, for example, on YouTube, more subscribers, for which one you got more reactions, which one they save more. If it's, for example, Instagram, they shared more. See and learn, because your audience will tell you everything.
100%. Oh my gosh, so much wisdom, so many value bombs. This is awesome. Dana, where can they find more of your brilliance?
First, thank you. But you can find me online. So my company is Big Dot Consulting. So that's my website.
Big Dot, D-O-T?
Big Dot, yes.
Okay.
Big Dot Consulting. And you can find me on pretty much, I think, on all social media platforms. I do have a podcast. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name it, like Twitter, Quora.
She's out there. You find her. She is out there.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm active on so many platforms. I manage a Facebook community in Hebrew with thousands of people. So I do my content in both, and I don't feel like I work for social media, because I say that, oh, I've got something to say today. I'm just going to share it. I just put myself out there with what's right for me, and that I know that my audience will find as valuable. And I ask them, you can create polls and ask them, what do you like me to speak about more? What do you want to learn more from me? Get them to be active.
Everyone, please share this show with a business buddy, because we shouldn't be struggling alone. And there's lots of amazing content here that will really just open it up so that we're all just more excited about social media. And we also very much love your reviews. I read every single one of them. So thank you so much. And I will see you in the next episode.